discussing the relocation, and I believe we touched a little bit on how this relocation is going to benefit all of the collections that are set up in Paraguay, which also includes Genesis, I believe EMF2, and a lot of buy and host clients are relocated from North Carolina to Paraguay. If I'm missing anything important, Hallie, just jump in.
Yeah.
So the process of relocating, it was a three-step part. The first thing was we needed to terminate our operational agreement with the current hosting partners in Paraguay. That process took some time. Obviously, you're all aware of the complications dealing with that team down in Paraguay. Fortunately, we have already surmounted the vast majority of that barrier. It was a lot of waiting. At this point, we have begun boxing up machines. We've begun taking them off of the racks. This is something, that's actually a process started a few weeks ago. The bottleneck in this second step of the process, which is the actual preparation of these machines for relocation, has been the actual wrapping and palletizing. So these are resources that for some reason in Paraguay right now are taking too long to source. So we're just waiting on the team to be able to palletize the machines. And then the next step would be to actually drive them over to the backup site, which that's the final step. Obviously, that then reinstalling the machines and paying all those fees, which we have a budget set aside already, so it shouldn't be an issue. Right now, we're anticipating that the timeline is still going to be between June and July.
Joe, you muted yourself, I think. I'm not sure if it was by accident or on purpose. Joe,
Can you guys still hear me? Hello?
you muted yourself like 40 seconds ago.
Okay. Yeah, so the last thing I said was
June, July.
the timeline. So June to July. So we're sort of there at the finish line. Again, it's hard to give a concrete date because whenever we do give a concrete date, something deviates from the plan and suddenly there's a delay. But there can only be so many more delays. The vast majority of the work has been completed. Now it's just about getting what we need to move the actual machines. Yeah, so I think we touched on the backup site last time. Our energy rate is going to be about 15% cheaper, which is good. We will also be looking at. I think we've made comments on eliminating the fees and the premiums that Alteri will be charging on these machines, which we're fully committed to adhere to that promise. That in the long term should hopefully mitigate a lot of this downtime. And obviously better operational efficiency and uptime. What we've been dealing with since fall of last year has been really poor uptime, really poor efficiency. So we're very excited to actually see this backup site operational and to finally move on from this chapter with our current hosting partners in Paraguay. I think that's all I have for the update on Paraguay. Um, it's Helly, just correct me if I'm missing something, but I think this information is relating to EMF2, Genesis,
Oh, it's
and then the
Genesis. Yeah, so Genesis EMF2 buyer hosts that bought for Paraguay and then the people that moved to Paraguay. So technically it's 3 to 4 parties, depending on how you look at it. But yeah.
Okay.
Joe, by the way, I'll let you finish your thing and then there's some questions. I'll read them out to you. Then you can cover.
Yeah, no, I think that's it. My voice is very weak. It's cutting, so I'm trying not to talk too much. But
Okay,
this is, I think this is, what's that?
I can do some of the questions for you, no worries. You can jump in whenever you need.
Yeah, if you can read the questions out for me, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I'll
I can answer them.
it'll go from top. Cool. First one seems to be is there going to be a Casper bonus for Genesis this month? I think yes. We're doing one every month.
Yes, yeah. And we anticipate that right now, just to give everybody some insight into the the scope of cost that we're dealing with in terms of legal fees, in terms of relocation fees, in terms of business expenses, all of which ultimately do translate into our capabilities to boost the reward for the pools. We're looking at over $200,000 that we have to budget for relocation, for termination, and then for reinstallation. That is a significant amount of money. We're not in any debt, and we don't want to be in any debt. But if we have to take on debt in order to accomplish these goals, we may have to. But that's just the fees associated with relocating. When we look at legal fees, because terminating contracts, there's a process sometimes of indemnification, process of claiming damages. It's the relationship between businesses is like a relationship between people, and sometimes people can be overly complicated. And so this is one of those circumstances where we are dealing with, unfortunately, overly complicated people who are looking for their best interests only. And so we've had to spend close to $80,000 in legal fees. So this is capital power that we otherwise would have definitely put into scaling, into boosting rewards. And that's, whenever we had months where we have done extraordinarily well relative to our expectations, we've always found ways to boost the pools. So this is just me setting expectations, and that this month, last month, we are going to be a little bit strapped in terms of budget and what we can boost and scale for the other pools. But certainly, the way that our businesses are growing and the trajectory looks extremely promising. And so we anticipate that once we surmount this hump and we don't have all these expenses lingering all the time, we're going to have more than sufficient capabilities to really start catching up with where we expect to be.
Cool. I think that more than covers that question and potentially some other ones. Going down the list. Well, Squabble has a bunch of more so. Oh no, there's a question about Carolina. They're asking what the current rate is in Carolina right now.
So right now it's the summer, and in the summer everything spikes. Remember, when we talk about rates, usually you're given an average energy rate, but I can be specific. This month was 7.44, and in North America the rates only go up. Since we've been expanding our operations into West Texas, where we have custody over the energy itself, and we can control how we use it and when we use it, and then we can also enroll in credit-backed programs that allow us to effectively bring our energy rates down. We can see rates in the very near future when we have plans to move a lot of North Carolina to our Texas facility. We can see our rates drop below 6 cents on the retail side. So 7.44 is high compared to historical rates, but it's low compared to what the market's seeing. Moving, as we continue to see a rise on the energy costs in North America. And with the whole AI boom right now, energy is becoming even more scarce, and the rates are going up. So it's really the move into the strategic expansion into Texas could not have been more timely, because I anticipate, and as many other experts in this industry are anticipating, energy is going to get extremely expensive very, very quickly. I will say though, one caveat is moving into a bull market, the energy rate becomes less and less impactful on the ultimate return. Obviously, now it's still pretty impactful, especially for Bitcoin, because it's halved and there wasn't any price compensation. But if you're sticking to the thesis that there's going to be a cycle where Bitcoin hits over 120K, then at that point, the energy is going to be 50-60% less impactful. So, it's like mining at 8 cents is like mining at 4 cents when Bitcoin's 140K type of situation.
Cool. I mean, there's Squabble that just put down a bunch of words. They don't really ask a question, but I guess he just wants an expansion on those. I'll skip that for now, Squabble, and you can let us know if there's exact questions. Joe, an update on V4 would be appreciated, it seems like. But I guess V4 is part of Genesis, that lineup for machines, so there's not much we can really say.
Yeah, so V4 has been sort of the least fortunate of all the collections, and that speaks volumes, because I think most collections in the Genesis lineup have suffered from a lot of challenges. If we had all the Genesis miners online, V4 would easily be able to claim rewards. The problem is we just have not had in the last 6 months, 7 months, all of the Genesis miners online at the same time. It's always been a partial operation for Genesis pools, and not just Genesis, obviously anything in Paraguay. And so that's effectively prohibited us from making any progress with V4. But we do anticipate that once we relocate and everything's back online, then we can see we could start to see V4 coming online, and then we can start to have more extensive discussions and informed discussions, let's say, about V4 and what it looks like. But certainly V4 has not been forgotten, and I think the expectations are still clear. So one way or another, we're going to have to find a way to rectify the expectations for V4.
Cool. Yeah, I think that actually was multiple questions that people were asking, so that's good. Next one. Well, there really isn't a next one. Oh, there is, sorry. So someone's asking, so we completely own the facility in Texas and North Carolina, completely built out and paid off, or is this wrong? They ask.
Yeah, completely built and paid off. The facilities in Texas are not completely built. There's a lot of capacity that we acquired in Texas, about 22.6 megawatts. So we quadrupled our capacity over the last 3 months. We have paid off the permission licenses, the energy the energy agreements, and the acquisition of the sites. So that was a significant fundraise and significant accomplishment for Alteri, and subsequently for Enigma in the long run as well. So that's very exciting, and we've had a part of our team focus solely on the Texas expansion and the development of those sites. I would say we're about 20% in terms of construction. So definitely not fully paid off, and it will take a lot of time, a lot of work. It was privately fundraised. This wasn't it wasn't like a mint or NFTs or anything. It was a private fundraise for Alteri. But we'll probably So this is when I was saying we're relocating. We'll probably take Enigma's pool and miners in North Carolina. Anybody who wants to relocate to these sites, and we'll put them there because it will be very beneficial. Yeah. Well, I mean, 100%. Whenever we make progress on the Alteri side, it always trickles into Enigma because it gives us economies of scale. It gives us leverage over energy rates. I think this is the primary reason why we survived through the bear market was because we had built that parallel business in the Web2 space. Um, and now we have more opportunities and degrees of freedom to find ways to bring Enigma back to align it with the expectations and probably even well beyond expectations. It's really a function of time, and I know that's been our Achilles heel is time. And I blame a lot of the challenges. I think Paraguay, but we'll just focus on the progress, and there's a lot of progress that's been made.
Cool. Yeah. So Squabber has rephrased quite well. So Joe, I'll answer these because I can. There's no need for you to.
Okay.
Yeah. So Squabber, you asked 4 things. I'll just go over them from the top. When is the plan for dashboard? We have done the backend and have had it for ages, but with the budget needed for Paraguay and for Texas and for amongst other things, the dashboard's funding has not been done yet. So we have everything planned that we can do as a team. Now it's just the next step of getting someone to do the front end, basically make it look nice. But the back end, the technicals we have locked in and we're good to, we know how to do it, and our developer is very talented, can do it. It's just about getting someone to do the front end now, which is going to be hopefully very soon. Yeah, so next question. When will the referral bonuses launch and any updates on the referrals? Yeah, I mean, we were going to do referrals more in depth, but we pivoted slightly away from that because we thought that there would be better opportunities elsewhere for the time. We can revisit referrals again for the wider community. I mean, it's an open secret that you can refer projects and clients to us and get a benefit from that. It's just not been put together formally or released formally. But that being said, there will be good opportunities to refer to us soon. But as always, we have focused on building out the infrastructure first, than than rushing things and not doing it the right way around. And then what are options, prices or plans for Texas site? People can reach out to us in DM for that. Again, it really depends on what machine you want to buy and all of that. I'm not gonna go into it now because it's 45 people and I doubt all of them are looking for it. And if they want to talk to me, they can always DM me or we can jump on a call about Texas. And once Texas is done, we are also going to release more content and like promotions around it, basically, and benefits around it. Is there a calculator may there be one on a dashboard for ROI on new and old machines and current power rates and profit share versus old machines? Maybe there's an Excel. No, we're not going to do that. We're no longer interested or keen on doing any sort of projections like we had in the past. They're inefficient and too many things change in the market for us to do those. So what we do now is when a client comes in, we let them know the current situation, and then they can make up their own mind on how they want to handle the investment and what their plans are. It's just honestly not worth it for us to do. I hope you guys understand. Some of you, the people have been salty, and they even the other day someone brought up our projections from earlier on in the project, which just did not help anyone. So yeah, that's that. Next questions. for those who have buying house in Paraguay, did have to pay to relocate another time for Texas, North Carolina? No, I mean the Paraguay mining will stay in Paraguay in the new facility. It doesn't make sense to move back to Texas at the moment. In the future, it might change, but at the moment, no. Yeah. Cool. Any other questions, anyone? Any other points of discussion you want to bring up? Three of you typing. Good to see. ETA for Paragraph backup, June, July. June, July. Patrick, Paraguay is a country, not a location. There's a lot of facilities in Paraguay, so we're moving from one facility to another facility. It's not like we're sticking in the same place. We're going to a different place within Paraguay, the country. So yeah, hopefully that makes more sense. We're not up and shipping 1,000 machines from Paraguay to Texas. We can't do that. No, we're not. It's too expensive, and yeah, it doesn't make sense. How long until Texas will be up and running? Joe, you can shed more light on that than I.
Texas is going to be up and running mid month this month. We're going to have about 3 megawatts of infrastructure built, which could support most of our North Carolina fleet if we had to relocate a lot of it. And then in August, we should be adding another 6. So we should be around 9 megawatts. And just a rule of thumb is 1 megawatt is about 300 machines. So by August, we could say about 2,700 machines. And by the end of the year, we anticipate that we'd be somewhere around 15 megawatts. But this is construction, not necessarily active miners. We still have to sell the space, find clients, install machines and all that. I will say, we just to calm some nerves, because I think a lot of you guys are extremely kind and patient with the team. And I can see that there are questions that I would also be asking if I was in your position that I'm not hearing. Perhaps it's because we've answered it in the past, but I think one very viable solution that we are investigating, and actually we're actively looking into right now and applying for, is taking loans to purchase a lot of backup machines to run in Texas for the Genesis pool, which is very feasible when we run the numbers. It's not going to be a loss leader at all for the business. So we think that in parallel to getting machines back, one very obvious solution to help rectify the downtime and the challenges is to take a loan, buy a lot of miners and set them up in a place we can control and run them efficiently. And so that's what we're looking into. So it's very possible that soon in Texas we will have a number of new machines that will be mining for Genesis, that we would be purchasing. And in that sense, that's our largely that is our solution as well to bringing V4 up to par as well. So we'll give more updates on that. But we are applying for a loan. We're very confident we're going to get the loan. It's just going to come down to the terms of the loan and what we can do with it.
Cool. So Patrick is asking, for someone who, like me, who has buying house in Paraguay, when we switch to our facility, do I need to pay for this, or the shipping be covered? As we mentioned, we're covering and taking on all the fees in Paraguay, which is a lot of fees, but we're covering that. So you wouldn't have to pay out of pocket for that. Anytime, no worries. Are there any issues for additional fractional? Sorry, are there any plans for additional fractional issues so we can redeploy income that is not KA, i.e. EMF or spur kit? I don't get the second part of your question. Are you saying are there going to be more fractional opportunities for you to take advantage of? Yeah, I mean, yes, there will be, but not right now. We're looking at something very interesting soon that might work. It means fees from other collections to Genesis. Oh, I see. You're trying to okay. Fractional collections for um other coins other than Casper. MZ, I would like a full apology because you actually beat anyway. Yeah, we could do something. I understand what he's asking. The second part of his question didn't make sense. Anyway, we can, but not at the moment. We're not interested in doing another collection at the moment. We're not sure there will be enough. That being said, there is a new L9 coming out, which is a very good Litecoin and Dogecoin miner. So we could do that. The L9 when that comes out, we could do a raise, but we don't really want to do more EMFs. Just fractional. Yeah. Anybody else? New EMF in Texas? Not necessarily. Just the fact that we have Texas doesn't mean we need a new L9. Would it be a group order for L9s? I mean, if there's clients for them, then yes, we're gonna order them. Yeah, we don't. We're not in a position to stock a bunch of machines and let them sell after. So long term, next 10 years we should be good unless markets tank. Well, 10 years is a long time. 10 years ago, they weren't even ASICs, my friend. So that's a bit of a bold claim to make, but we're so far so good. So far so good. Any other questions? Any other points? Any other feedback? Anyone want to come up and ask a question? Why not? Several people typing. Wow. When 500k Bitcoin? Hopefully soon. It's looking good. It is looking good as far as Bitcoin goes. The inflows for the last I don't know how many days were positive. So didn't Fidelity also buy like $221 million worth of Bitcoin like 2 days ago? So we're getting there. Damn, you guys type slow. There we go. Uh, is there any other thoughts about covering or reimbursement of any sort of downtime delay in Paraguay? Yes, we're not charging any fees on the machines once they come up. That's the only thing we can do right now. So they'll be on essentially. There will be essentially on at cost. Uh, what's the remaining useful life of Genesis machines? Well, they haven't been used so a long time, couple of years. Depends when they were bought because we bought some later than others, and some mined longer than others. So it depends on which chunk of machines. Any it's gonna be a good one. Any thought or talk of another reinvestment period for any collection to help get back on track? All collections that are not in Paraguay are actually doing very well. So no, because they're doing well already, and I doubt anyone's going to want to lock up liquidity. Um, Also, how will the loan be reflected on the capital structure? Are Genesis owners responsible for any of the servicing costs? No one is a shareholder, so they wouldn't be responsible for servicing any costs. No. Are Genesis holders still getting rebate on their buy and host fees, excluding Paraguay? Which rebate? Um, Possible. I'll let you type that out, Spurkid. Possible suggestion: give option to convert no fees credits for additional miners in new text location. We could do that. I know what a rebate is. I'm just asking: is there a specific one that we've said we're gonna do, or Oh, you mean the very original one that had like a discount based on how much Genesis you had? Yeah, we can look at that. I don't think we've exercised that because we just gave all of them, all of our clients pretty good rates, or as good as rates as we can get. But yeah, I guess. So sorry, Waj, to go to your point. To give no fee credits for additional miners in the text location. Yeah, we can do that. We can explore that. I don't see an issue with that. As long as obviously it's the machines get procured, we shouldn't have an issue with looking into that. If you have a more specific suggestion on how to do it, feel free to send me a DM, and we can discuss it and reach a potential middle ground that suits both parties.
Just on the suggestion that Wajda made, within the realm of reason, I think we can work something out because remember, Alteri is a business, and the financials are all separate from Enigma, which is a community-driven project, and so there's no budget that Enigma has that powers the project necessarily. Like it doesn't pay salaries, it doesn't do any of that anymore, at least. Right in the very beginning, it did, but it doesn't do that anymore. So when we try to rectify situations affecting Enigma pools, we are directly impacting extraneous business models. So what you're suggesting, if it's related to buy and host, it's completely acceptable and reasonable. If you're talking about non-Alteri business, not Alteri businesses like Enigma pools, in that case, we would have to have a more extensive negotiation to understand what the expectations are, because Alteri has costs, and it has a business model with top margins, and so we need to just make sure that we're not taking one side that's hurting and then hurting another side, and then ultimately we're catalyzing pain rather than finding ways to succeed in one area and augment the other. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. Can one in the future request to have Genesis EMF rewards diverted to reinvestment, say for equity in Ontario buy and host? No, because our rewards from it. Well, yeah, that will be into fractional machines or new miners and buy and host. For equity, no. We're not currently raising or have plans to raise, so we're not keen on doing that.
It's a very legally complicated
Also
situation.
that, yeah. Also that.
It's much easier that we have Alteri subsidize or donate or so on and so forth towards Enigma pools rather than conflate the two separate businesses. Um, I don't think that would help anybody, to be honest.
Yeah, that, that also, which was a big chunk. Um, any other questions based of those or anything new? Now is the time. I mean, you can always ask us questions, but to get a verbal answer, now is the time from both of us together. So great questions so far, though, and suggestions for sure.
I'm very confident, and I think maybe this falls on deaf ears to some ratio in the audience, but I'm very confident that we're going to have a very positive turn of events. That in the near term, we're going to have a lot of capabilities to uh, maybe completely reverse the trajectory of the Enigma pools in Paraguay through means that maybe a lot of us haven't really considered. But there's a lot of stuff on the horizon outside of Enigma that I believe is going to give us a lot of flexibility to dramatically change the fate of V1 to 4 and EMF2 as well. Although I'm less concerned about EMF2. But you could be rest assured we have a lot of money invested in finding these solutions. We've been pursuing solutions, ironically, for 9 months, 10 months now, maybe even longer if you want to consider the bear market a challenge as well. Um, it's been a long time, and we have found many ways to grow from it, and in many ways we have unfortunately fabricated new challenges. And we have had many points where we could have written off a loss and told people, hey, shit happens. Don't expect much. It's out of our hands. But we've been around for 3 years. Um, we have launched several successful elections in parallel to these challenges, and some are still finding their way out. And I think if anything, that should be a testimony to everybody that we're gonna stay, we're gonna grow, and we're gonna make progress. We're gonna find a solution that sticks. And if we don't find the solution we expect, there's another solution. Right down the street. It's not difficult if you have the will to find a solution, which we obviously do. We're gonna get a solution. And I think we have now the degrees of freedom to choose what solution we're going to go after. And if one fails, we have a contingency plan. And so that's why I say, I think this next couple of months, at most, it's going to be very telling, and I think it will reverse the fate one way or another. So um, we're happy that there's so many people on the stage, that people are still asking questions. Um, and we understand all the frustrations completely. And we're excited to turn all these frustrations into surprise. So if you have any other questions, ping me. I may not answer, so ping Helly. But yeah, thank you for your time.
Well said, Joe. Sorry, I'm just yeah. So are the testimonials that are being collected now used for future purposes to attract new clients? Yeah, we'll be using them in our territory to grab some to do some marketing, which we have never done before. So we're getting into that now. So if any of you haven't done a testimonial and they would like to do a testimonial and would like to win a prize for doing one, please do one. They take 20 minutes. I'm not scary. I don't bite. It's just a very easy conversation for you to have and win something, one of our NFTs or whatever you happen to get. Not a lot of people have signed up, so you have an extremely good chance of winning something for free in this space, which doesn't happen often. So yeah. Where am I? Where am I? Where am I? Because there's no space left on a lot of miners to be moved from Paraguay, which haven't mined a long time. I'm not sure if that's a question or a point. Will that be for new miners in Texas, the testimonials? So we're collecting testimonials specifically from people that are mining in Carolina, because it will be offerings in Carolina and Texas. We're not doing any testimonials with people that have purely machines in Paraguay, because it's not the same product, and obviously it's counterintuitive. So yeah. So yeah, it will be used for miners, yeah. And I make sure to check with people. So North Carolina isn't. Sorry, North Carolina is full, but as we said, we're planning on moving some machines to Texas. Therefore, freeing up some space in Carolina again, which we will most likely use for Casper machines. As the team in Carolina is very good at handling Casper miners, but currently it's just about full. We're not taking any more Bitcoin miners, only specifically Casper miners. Yeah, so it would be as like a switcheroo of sorts. And we already actually moved some machines from Carolina to a different facility. But those are none of your guys' machines. Obviously, would have let you know, but yeah, it's a different clients. Yeah. Hi, choosers. Good to see you. Any more questions? Any more feedback? Anyone? I am happy to answer any and all questions if I can. Jesus, how is your Casper bag going? Is it looking beautiful? It's magical, yeah. Hi, NFT Bang. I guess someone asked a similar question. Genesis machines in Paraguay seem old. They're not old. They're older models. There's new models now, which came out like 3 months ago, but yeah, they're not like use old. Is there any problem with performance relating to the lifetime? No, machines can chill and not be used for a while, and then you can plug them in. Their lifespan deteriorates once if they're being used and if they're not being cleaned properly and all of those things. So yeah, we don't foresee any issues with actual machines.
Well, it's possible, machines sitting idle for a long time.
Well, it's possible, but we don't.
Yeah, depending on the environment and how they're maintained, because they still need to be they still need to be maintained even when they're not running to an extent. Like they have to be contained, and also there is a degree of uncertainty as to when we come and turn them back on. There's still a degree of uncertainty. Some may fail, some may struggle, and so on. So we can't be 100%. Ellie's saying is accurate. If they're not running, the longevity of these machines is a function of heat-related degradation of the circuits. So if they're not running, they're not hot, and so they don't necessarily degrade over time as quickly.
Yeah. Thanks for the additional clarity, Joe. Is it possible to set a timeline for future updates, even if there's no news? Just give small headline update on every Monday or so, every 2 weeks, or every 2 weeks. Can do, but we again we would just much rather prefer to update when there is an update. Otherwise, we'll just forget, and people are like, "Oh my god, no updates." I mean, yeah, I get your point about holders feeling some holders miss some sort of structure. Yeah, I mean there is structure. It's announcements and there's two different channels and they happen once we need them to happen. Yes, sometimes we miss updating. But for the most part, there is a structure. It's just that if there's no valuable announcement or there's no announcement that we can make, which we can freely make, rather then we're not going to do it. So, for example,
Ellie,
there was some.
do you think it's feasible that we have a recurring AMA scheduled every 2 weeks, same time? Is that something
Oh,
that, at the very least,
it's
speaking?
not, I mean, yeah, we can schedule every 2 weeks and do it. That's not a problem. That's different. Like
So
those two different
maybe,
things. Just having an empty announcement saying nothing's happened every Monday doesn't feel useful to me. But having an AMA every 2 weeks when people come questions, yeah, that makes sense. We can do that.
yeah, maybe we could try that. And one of our team members, at the very least, could
I can do
be,
it. All right.
yeah. And if we don't have much to share, we can say that. But I'm sure, at the very least, some people may have questions, and that may even relieve some of the administrative burden with having to actually post and write announcements. And then, yeah, so maybe we try that.
Yeah, like not Saturday or Friday night, but like now. But if it's like every Wednesday or Thursday, that shouldn't be a problem. Like I can do that. David, we can talk about scheduling it for a time. I'll go on the top again. Any status update on the facility? Mate, if you can just listen to the recording. I don't want to waste time going over a bunch of detail and then something else. So it'll be much more useful for you. But long story short, June, July, we should have them up in a different facility. I mean, the recurring issue that we have is not necessarily the update. It's the fact that Paraguay is causing issues. I swear, if this project never had the Paraguay issue, it would be in a much different place and different light. I handle majority of the concerns and people's issues in the chat, and they usually to deal with I wasn't here and I missed something out, which is arguably their fault. And then yeah, again, I much prefer to have the AMAs than just an update. Guys, it's been almost an hour, so let's do final questions and end it. I feel like we're waning off anyway. But by the way, don't think I'm dismissing your point. We do understand that communication needs to be, but if there's nothing to update, then No, I understand how we can do it, but it's better to just do an AMA on it and mention it there than just empty text. Cool. Any other people's questions need to be written? Cool. Well, I'll give it another 1 or 2 minutes to check if anyone's actually typing, and then we can end it.
Okay, sounds good. I think if there are any other questions, maybe best to just tag Helly or myself, and we'll answer in the chat. All right, thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Bye bye.